Yo, what's going on, guys? Chris Bonner here, Overtime Athletes. Wanted to make a video for you guys. It's actually a little bit more personal to me, but I feel like it will provide value to you guys, and I'm starting to see success with it. And it's basically a 10-minute routine to start to rid yourself from that ugly forward head posture. Now, a lot of you may not know this. I've made other posture videos before. I'm not the best expert. I'm not a PT when it comes to this stuff. I obviously do a little bit of research for myself. It is my background, but I want to try to kind of dumb things down for you, make them less technical, and just make it a simple routine that you can follow for the next 30 days that I feel like will really support you guys. Now, a lot of you may not know this, but obviously we get that forward head posture because of things that we do as a society as a whole. We like to sit a lot. We like to text a lot. These are all things that put us into that posture. I myself happen to have a really bad one that stems from an injury. I actually have a metal rod in my shoulder when I was playing football. That forced me to be in a sling and created all kinds of issues through my shoulder and neck region. And this has been one of the routines that has started to really support me, even with this trauma and all the working off the desk and everything like that. So I just want to share with you guys. So there's three parts to it. There's a stretching part, there's a myofascial release or trigger point release type part, and there's finally a strengthening part. And if you start to click on all three of these, make sure you do them on a daily basis or 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I think you'll start to see great results. So starting off is just gonna be our stretching component. Now, what I perform first and foremost is a backpack stretch. I'll show you what a backpack stretch is, and it requires a resistance band. If you don't have a resistance band, you can still perform these stretches without it. However, creating a little bit of resistance or pulling down that shoulder, to me, gets a really good stretch. So I just simply step inside the resistance band and put it over my shoulder. What that's doing, the band is pulling the shoulder down. First and foremost, I'm just gonna focus on driving the neck away, this ear towards this shoulder, just getting a stretch here. I can then pull my chin down, focus on this levator here as I put this chin in this pocket, just kind of pull the crown of my head down there. And then you can rotate that all the way up, that chin all the way up, and stretch all through here, through those scalenes. So you're just focusing on three different forms of stretches. So from here, chin down, all the way up to chin above. Just find those certain places where you feel that stretch. Be a little bit intuitive. What I do is I spend about 15 seconds on three different parts. Chin down, ear down, and then chin up. Focus on those three parts, repeat on both sides. Like I said, if you don't have a band, simply go ahead and just do it manually. You can anchor your arm to the side of a chair or bench, pull that head down to the side, and then pull that neck up, and really focusing on the stretching there. Second one that I focus on is opening up that chest muscles. A lot of times when we're sitting at the desk, we like to internally rotate. What I want to do is kind of force that external rotation, right? So what we want to do is we want to open up that chest. That pec minor gets tight. So we want to go ahead and find a post. You can find a wall, a door jamb. Just go ahead and put your arm, elbow right above shoulder, 90 degrees at the elbow, and we're just pulling away, really focusing on stretching that pec minor, that pec muscle right here, your chest, opening that up. And you're gonna repeat the same on both sides, go 30 seconds. Next one is I wanna open up the shoulder region. So the first one we could do is kind of opening up the anterior region, the front region. You could do this at the end of a couch, at the end of a bench, at the end of your dining table, probably not dining room table, but your living room table. Just kind of anywhere below, between butt and knee level. You take a couple steps out as if you're doing like a bench dip, and just sink your butt down, and you'll feel that stretch all through here. You can rotate your hands and just really feel like you're stretching and trying to open that up. I go about 10-15 seconds there. Then I'll go over to the wall and again, open up some of my thoracic region. I'll just put my hands on the wall, drive my armpits down, really trying to open up my shoulders and my chest. And I'll spend 10 to 15 seconds there, and I'll actually kind of teeter-totter back and forth trying to open up each direction as you do those. That's it for the stretching region. Now what we want to move to, now that we're kind of opened up and a little bit loosened up on a macro level, we want to focus on releasing certain muscles on a micro level. What I like to utilize is this little tool that I've bought, which they just simply call a Theracane, basically because I could get certain muscles better with this little knob here. You can also use a lacrosse ball. There's also, you know, if you need to manually do this, if you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever it is, that can support you in kind of doing a little bit of manual therapy, almost like a massage to you, that could support you as well. But we'll just go down the chain of exactly muscles that I target and just why we're trying to almost release those muscles that are hyper, you know, that are really overly active, okay? So first and foremost, we wanna start with the suboccipitals. The suboccipitals are the muscles that are gonna be right here at the base of your skull. Typically they're tight when you have a forward head posture, and what you wanna do is you just kinda wanna relax those. So what I do is I take this Theracane and I basically go through here and I'll find one, or I'll find a certain area, one area or particular areas, I'll kind of move it around. And what I'll do is I'll almost kind of like glide it down that area. If you have a lacrosse ball, you can lay on the lacrosse ball and put your head or up against the wall. You'll find an area that's pretty tight and you'll basically just apply a little bit of pressure to it. And almost just like a massage, you're gonna apply a pressure to it until that nervous system kind of deadens and you basically start to loosen that area up. So that's first and foremost. So your suboccipitals here, I spend about 10 to 15, anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds, depending the intensity. Like I said, when you put this on your body in certain areas that are tight, if you know you have that posture, once you put this on a particular muscle, you're gonna experience an intense sensation. It's gonna be painful to some of you. So kind of work your way into it, be intuitive. Second one that we're gonna move to is just gonna be the sternocleidomastoid. So this muscle essentially pulls it forward, same thing. The easiest way that you want to get to this one is you want to come right underneath that jaw line and just apply pressure right to that muscle. It attaches right up here at this point of the skull and comes to the front. So it actually comes down to the front right here towards the front of your neck. So right here at the base of it, it's that muscle that's pretty hyperactive. And you're just gonna wanna put that there. Again, you can use a lacrosse ball, you can lay on it, you can have somebody actually kind of start to massage your neck in those particular areas, but you just wanna release that. You'll find an intense sensation and relax into it. And like I said, 10 to 20 seconds, as soon as you find that one point within that area. Next one that we want to go to is going to be the upper traps and the levators. So the reason why I like this is because my upper traps, if you guys are constantly at a desk or have your hands on a desk, you're going to notice your levator scapula and your upper traps, for that matter, are essentially always flaring, right? They're always turned on. You want to basically be able to relax them. So what I do is I take this, I go through the upper trap, and I just kind of work it down from the top here, going all the way down out towards my shoulder. I actually have some knots in there that I kind of tend to work out. Take my time, and I'm just moving down. Now, when it comes to the levator, what I basically do is I put that there, I turn away, I put that right on the base of my upper trap, right below it actually, as you can see about right there. Then what I'm doing is I'm turning away and putting my neck down into this front pocket, and I stretch that out, and I'll feel an intense sensation, and I'll just drive this Theracane down into it and release that. And as soon as it starts to alleviate and I relax into it, I'll spend about anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds. These are hyperactive on me. Certain muscles you guys are gonna feel are extremely active on you. Certain muscles, they won't be as bad. So it's just a matter of going down the chain of command and seeing which ones work for you. This one for me is always lit up, especially if I do any kind of overhead press. I'll notice that this will flare up immediately. So you just want to relax those levator scapula. The next one, moving down, I'll move that down all the way across the back. But the next one that I want to go to is back to the pec. We're actually going to go pec minor. So pec minor, you're actually going to go right below that collarbone. It's going to be a little bit higher. And you're just going to go across your chest until you find that one point that is pretty, yeah, see, there's a tense sensation when I put that, apply a little bit of pressure right there. And you're just going to want to take that, you're just going to kind of hold it there. And almost like I move it back and forth and just try to alleviate until that muscle, think of it being extremely tight and then loosening as I apply pressure. I can even move down my pectoralis major, so I almost think of a line of my chest being a circle here, circling my shoulder muscle, right, the anterior deltoid, and I'll just go and find a series of different areas there that extremely tight and spend a little time on those. There's finally one more down the middle of your chest, right about midway, and you can feel that as well. I spend a little bit of time there. Finally, you're gonna go ahead and go to the upper ab right below your rib cage. Again, these muscles are ones that are pulling you in and tightening here. So if this is tight, it's pulling you into this in these. So these are all muscles that we're trying to loosen up and alleviate so that you can then stand up straight and tall. Next one is that upper ab. Again, finding it, pulling and pushing right up, kind of a little bit underneath that rib cage, and just loosening up that muscle that seems to be really tight on a lot of us. Next, after we have this, guys, those are all muscles that are associated with pulling you into this posture, right? So tight, 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 tight with the neck. So we just want to basically release those, and that's what we're focusing on. So finally, we want to focus on strengthening. Again, I'm just kind of shooting off the hip here, guys. So if I'm rambling, I apologize. I'm just going through the process and just showing you ones that you guys can definitely work on. I know with some guys, something like the suboccipitals might be the tightest thing and you might just need to focus on that. But as you get a little bit better, focus 10 to 20 seconds on each of these muscles down that chain of command so you can really start to open yourself up. Oh, there is one more that I do want to focus on, and it's just simply taking a foam roller and creating a little bit of thoracic mobility at the spine. And what you're gonna do is essentially you're gonna come here, you're gonna take the foam roller, you're gonna sit on your butt, and then from here, all I want you to do is place it in that mid-back region and really start to open this whole front area up just by leaning back into it, taking your time. I usually spend about a minute here, or I might spend anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, and just try to open up and just kind of breathe through this so that you can then expand this front portion of you. And certain areas of you might be a little bit tighter than others, but you just want to focus on creating mobility through that thoracic region that's constantly basically hunched over. Then, like I said, finally is just the strengthening portion. I just do a series of 10-second contractions. So what I do is there's 2 to 3 different muscles that I'm focusing on. So I want to focus on my deep cervical flexor. So I put my tongue on the roof of the mouth and I tuck my chin as if I'm trying to tuck it down into the back end of my neck. So I put tongue on the roof of the mouth and put my here, and what you'll see is you won't see, but you'll feel on yourself that there's gonna be a series of muscles here contracting. These are deep cervical flexors. They are typically extremely weak if you have forward head posture. So you wanna strengthen these, and we'll do these through isometric contractions. What we're essentially doing is forcing ourselves into great posture and having an extreme isometric contraction to be able to strengthen and stabilize those muscles. So as you do the neck, you're gonna focus on retraction of the shoulder blades or the scapula as well. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna take the shoulder blades, hands out, so we're in external rotation, and you're gonna draw your shoulder blades down as much as you possibly can while you're tucking your chin down and back and putting the tongue on the roof of your mouth. Hold that for 10 seconds. And then release and repeat that 5 to 10 times. As much you put into this as much as you get out. Like I said, I'm just kind of making this video because to me, this is something that's gonna support me. It's something that I've always dealt with after I had my injury. I didn't have it before that, but now that I have this and I have this trauma, I gotta go ahead and build and do things, protocols to be able to support myself to get out of it. I'm doing it, so I figured I'd share it with you guys, and hopefully it could support one of you to be able to eliminate yourself, especially if you're an athlete. You have to realize that the more efficient you are and the more mechanically sound you are as far as your movement, the better you're gonna be. You only produce great movement and efficient motor patterns when you're in a good posture and we're as efficient as we possibly can. So make sure you utilize this. Try it for anywhere from 14 to 30 days and tell me it doesn't get you better, because it's already starting to support me a lot. And it's something that I'll have to keep up on for the rest of my life. But for some of you guys can start to see a huge increase or a huge improvement over the next 14 to 30 days. So try it out. I know it's a long video. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you next time.